it's me, Pup. How are you doing? I, for one, am pretty, I'm whatever. My dumb ass decided to live stream the Summer Game Fest again over on the YouTube channel of my Sonic podcast, Sunset City, in hopes that there would be some Sonic news. In fairness, there was, but my god, those Summer Game Fest things are always fucking exhausting. And unlike the Game Awards last year, there was at least a Sonic thing, but Sonic fans seemed just as unhappy this time as they were at the Game Awards, when we got absolutely nothing. And it spurred kind of a bigger conversation about the 35th anniversary of the franchise, with some writing off the 35th anniversary as just kind of the worst anniversary yet, even worse than the 15th anniversary, which was considered a low point for the franchise. The logic seems to be that there were at least games being released for the 15th anniversary, while for the 35th, we haven't had any games for that. And I think all of this is fair enough. Like, if your standards are that at least they are releasing games in the 15th anniversary and that puts it above the 35th, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for that, but I figured I would throw in my own 2 cents as to this big anniversary discussion. I do think the fans are kind of getting the wrong end of the stick with these Sonic anniversaries, but at the same time, I do think Sega have themselves to blame for that as well. During the anniversaries, we generally get at least a game, and I don't think we've had that for the 35th. The thing is that the games we get aren't always the best. It wasn't really viewed as an anniversary project, as a 5-year anniversary isn't generally considered the most important thing in the world. But Sonic 3D Blast was the game of the 5th anniversary of the franchise. Sonic Adventure 2 was the game that marked the 10th anniversary. The 15th anniversary had a whopping 4 Sonic games released. That's Sonic 06, Sonic Riders, Sonic Rivals, and Sonic Genesis on the Game Boy Advance. But I would argue that the 20th is the only time the game has really been geared up around that anniversary. Sonic Generations is undoubtedly a celebration of the franchise's past. You wouldn't really release a game like this on an ordinary day, would you, Sega? You wouldn't, right? Of course, Sonic Generations wasn't the only project for the 20th anniversary. We also had the Sonic CD remake for mobile, and of course the 3DS version of Sonic Generations, which is a different game. Then for the 25th, we got Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. I think Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces were kind of meant to be quasi-anniversary titles. They do have that nostalgic component to them, and they do feel built around the anniversary. Bringing classic Sonic back to mark 5 years of Sonic Generations makes sense. But in terms of the 25th anniversary itself, the 25th anniversary game was Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. Now, I know that there's people out there that would argue that Sonic Riders or Sonic Rivals are better games than Sonic Boom Fire and Ice. I can't really say I agree with that, but if we're looking purely at games, this already kind of debunks the whole the 15th is the absolute worst one ever. And I mean, hell, it gets debatably worse, as for the 30th anniversary, the game was Sonic Colors Ultimate, which effectively gives Sonic Colors the Sonic Genesis GBA experience, albeit just a little less egregious. For the 35th anniversary, we seemingly have no new major games at all. We've got Sonic Pico Park, which is a collaboration with an indie game, and that looks fun, and we've also got new content coming to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition is all but confirmed at this point, but it does just appear to be a Switch 2 port, so it's not really anything noteworthy. If you are hoping for new games on these anniversaries, then yeah, 35th so far has the least to offer. However, like the 30th, we do have kind of more events going surrounding that anniversary event rather than games. For me, the big highlight of the 30th anniversary was the Sonic Symphony. For the 35th anniversary, we've got Sonic Live, which we don't know much about. It looks to be the Sonic Symphony, just minus the symphony orchestra part. I will say it's a shame if they're getting rid of that, but at the same time, I think, yeah, the big rock and electric band part is the part I think most people look forward to the most. So if they do want to just keep it to just that for Sonic Live, I won't be mad. We've also had the Chaotix Case Files, which was very eventful as we had the return of Infinite. There has been the Sonic Rewind on social media, but I will admit, like, despite some new concept art releasing for games like Sonic Adventure, it really didn't have much to offer, nor did it justify a trailer. It was once again just a look back, as if we haven't had plenty of those already, on purely just the parts of Sonic history that Sega are happy to curate, as per the usual, while leaving a quarter of a century worth of comics and cartoons that for a lot of people were the Sonic experience on the floor. If you were a fan of Archie Sonic or any of the Deektoons or Fleetway, you are not invited to the party. They could have definitely made this a noteworthy anniversary purely just by having a social media post that acknowledges the Sonic comics and cartoons of the years past. I'm pretty sure those things are never going to be referenced ever again, but I swear it's like Sega keep bringing up the perfect opportunity to bring them into the fold. Multiverse TV show, multiverse racing game, a toy game with plenty of crossovers, a rewind through all of Sonic history, and we just cannot mention anything from the Archie or Fleetway or whatever comics. This is where they're falling short in my opinion. Back to my original point, though. In terms of overall content, the 35th anniversary has not really been focused on the game side of things. But I would argue that the only time when the game was ever the centerpiece of the anniversary event was Sonic Generations. Sonic Adventure 2 isn't really remembered as the 10th anniversary title. And of course, it is a misconception that Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces are anniversary titles. So with that in mind, would you say that the 25th anniversary was exactly anything huge? What kind of made the 30th and 25th anniversaries as big as they were was the announcement of the next game that we'd get a year after. And I think that is absolutely going to happen this year. I'm confident that the next mainline Sonic game will release late next year, being timed to kind of coincide with the fourth movie, which means I think we will get that announcement. People were unhappy that they didn't announce the next mainline Sonic game at Summer Game Fest, but even if they did, it's not necessarily releasing this year. It is, like, definitely not releasing this year. I've seen Sonic fans dreading that, oh, we'll probably just get an all CGI reveal trailer with no gameplay. But, like, yeah, that is just how these things go. That is like an industry-wide thing. And I agree it's disappointing, but there's just no use dreading it. It's gonna happen. The point I'm making is that these anniversaries really don't matter. The only reason why we are comparing anniversaries right now is because we are in one, and people are feeling disappointed at the fact that no new mainline game has been announced yet. But who's to say it won't be announced this year? Because really, I think it will. Whether it's at the next Nintendo Direct or they do a Sonic Central, we will definitely get the announcement of the next big Sonic thing this year. And until then, we've got lots to have fun with. Sonic Racing Crossworlds getting new content is always going to be exciting. But also just the general way releases work with Sonic is different now. From Forces 2017 to Frontiers in 2022, we had only one game. And that was a racing spin-off by a different studio, and even that was pretty underwhelming. This marked kind of a low point for the quantity of the content that we were getting. But then post-Frontiers, we got some new momentum. You got Frontiers, you got The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, you got Superstars, you got Final Horizons, you've got Sonic Dream Team, you've got Sonic Rumble, you've got Sonic Racing Crossworlds, you've got Sonic X Shadow Generations, which was mostly a new game. We've got a wealth of games to play, some bigger than others. I really don't mind if for the 35th anniversary, Sonic just takes the year off in order to cook that next game and make it that much better. But as I mentioned earlier, I don't think Sega have entirely helped themselves here. The only reason we're comparing these things is because there's something to compare here in the first place. Sonic makes a big deal of every 5 years anniversary it has, turns it into a huge marketing thing, and for what? Is 25 a special birthday? Is 30? I mean, I can understand it more with the decade ones, but I think once you're past 20, you really don't want to be celebrating anything until 50. And then after 50, like 75 is acceptable, and then 100. There's nothing special about 35. And so far, there's nothing really special about this year, so why even bother referring to it as the 35th anniversary? When it's not a special year, we're not going to make it a special year. Hell, we've proven that we can have special years without it even being an anniversary. The Year of Shadow. And I think the Year of Shadow is the best year the franchise has ever seen. And it's not even an anniversary year. The year after that, we had Racing Around the World, which was pretty good too. Just taking a year off isn't the end of the world. And as I say, it's not like we're starved for content right now. I understand we all want that hype cycle, because I love the Sonic hype cycle. I loved it when Frontiers was on the way. I loved it when Shadow Generations was on the way. It's always really fun speculating about what the next game's going to be and how it's going to play and, you know, commenting on every new thing that gets released. I love that stuff. I can't wait for that to begin again too. But I'm really not panicking, as we haven't exactly been waiting very long. Well, what do you folks think? Do you agree that Sonic should maybe just put the kibosh on the anniversary stuff entirely? Do you agree that, you know, these anniversaries don't really matter until we reach 50 now? I mean, at the most, once every 10 years, like, every 5 years is too much. Plus, with, like, how long it takes to make a game these days, like, they're all just gonna end up being anniversary games. Which would explain why, like, the last dozen games have had Green Hill Zone in them. Well, anyway, talk about that in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe if you love Sonic. I like talking about Sonic a lot, so you'll get to hear that. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it. Apparently the hype feature is a big help, so if you want to hit the hype button, that's great. And if you don't want to do any of that, that's also fair. I will not throw a very big tantrum. Just a little one. And now, a special thank you shout out to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. We have Manelza, KB, Twilord, Biotin, Sirius the Skeptic, and Mr. SP. Kale Bennett, What If Pup Was Ballin'? Okay, thank you, Kale Bennett. Dare Denny, Sad Goku, Ghostly Phantom, Xanderwolf, Channel Pup, Lifeform Data successfully copied, Council of Geeks, SSS06, Carlex, RT0, Marv Animation, Grant Allen, Josh Strider, Silver, Ben Raven, Basic Content, Gideon Wells, Pressplated Jason, Joseph Tribble, and Cho Henshin. Thank you, folks, so much for your generosity. And as for the rest of you, you're gonna go get another little plate at the buffet now, you know, you're still hungry, you know, gotta fill that tummy, you know. Hit my channel, go see what food we got.